Welcome back, friends, and in this lesson I would like to teach you how to use open strings for great transition points. You can see the one I just did there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use, once again, for an example, Blue Railroad Train, which we've been going over the last couple of weeks. And you can go back to those videos and kind of get an idea of what the song sounded like in context. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of demonstrate where the open string transitions occur in Blue Railroad Train. On the first video I kind of hinted at those, but I'm going to point them out definitely this time. And then I'm going to give you a couple exercises or a few examples of how you can use open strings in your playing, so that you can kind of adjust to playing, switching your hand and shifting positions, and get used to that, because that's very important in navigating the fretboard, is using those open strings to your advantage. So again, Blue Railroad Train is in, I played it in the key of D. Originally it's in the key of F. That's where Tony Rice plays it. But I did it in the key of D, so the way, since a lot of fiddle tunes are in D, you can get used to using a bunch of those licks in other songs, and kind of using them in those other songs. Kind of stealing them from Blue Railroad Train and putting them in other songs, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, let's go over this and kind of get an idea of where those open string position shifts are. Let's start from the top. Right there is one. The very first one, you got two open strings, and that gives you time to get down here to do this. Open string kind of gives you a little bit of air to float on. Your hand is moving as open strings are ringing, and it kind of gives you that a little extra time and a little extra space to kind of float around to where you need to be. Notice how I play those other two strings. My finger moved naturally down to where it needed to be next. There's the other one. We're going to go to that. Two more open strings, the G and the D string. And that's going to allow me to have time to do that little lick. As I'm hitting those open strings, again, my hand is moving to my next position. And as I mentioned in the last video, I think it was, in the Tony Rice Masterclass DVD, he goes over when he's playing, doing a lesson on I don't want your millions, mister, and going into Church Street Blues. He kind of talks about the cross picking, and he talks about how playing guitar and using cross picking is kind of like playing billiards. And in other words, it's where when you're playing pool, playing billiards, you're always setting yourself up for the next shot. And as I said the last video, it's just brilliant analogy to me, because that's exactly what it is. Not only the picking, like he was talking about, but when you're playing, you always want to think ahead to where your next lick or your next position is going to be. I kind of went over that in the last video a little bit. But once again, these open strings allow us time to think and to shift where we're going with that. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, and we're going to go over that a little bit more so you can see a little bit better. Open string allows me time to once again, it allows me time to go up here. Getting a little buzzing somewhere. I'm trying to figure out where it is. There's the next one. Those two strings have allowed me time to get my pinky down here at the 5th fret of the G string. And that may be one way that you can practice if you're having problems with Blue Railroad Train. You can practice the open string shifts to the next note. So the first one will be and just practice that much of it. So you get that position shift. The next one, and you kind of build on top of your next lick. So like I said, the other one is so you kind of get that ready too. And then walk it down. Once again, we're shifting up here. And then another little spot that I went over in detail last one, and I'm going to kind of go over it again. One thing you have to remember and keep in mind, as I said in the last video, is that you have to kind of look ahead. If you're reading music, it's called sight reading, and you're always reading ahead of where you're at so you know where to go and you won't get lost. If I was to think where I'm at, and then when I need to switch, think of it then, I would probably get lost and I would mess up. What I do is when I'm comfortable up in this area, when I know where my fingers are at, I don't have to look there. I'm used to that. And I'm not looking at it right now, I'm looking at you. So if I'm comfortable looking at you, then naturally I'll be comfortable ignoring what I'm doing, since I'm already there and since I'm used to that, and going ahead and looking where I need to be next. So while I'm doing this, I'm already looking up in this general area where I need to be. That way I can go there. And then the 7, 5, 6, the B string, open E string. And so that open G string again, open D and open G, gives me time to go there. And like I said, when I'm up here, I'm looking at my next spot. Well, the next spot after that is back down. So after I'm here, I'm already looking back to where I need to be next. So it's kind of like I'm playing tag with myself and trying to catch up to myself. My eyes go there, then my hands do, but by the time my hands get here, my eyes are already looking back, and then my hands follow. And you got to get used to that if you're going to do these position shifts. You got to get used to playing and looking ahead of where you're at, and to do that, you have to be comfortable with where you're at currently. Okay, I know it's a mouthful to swallow, but that's just the way it is. Once I hit these two notes, I'm already looking back here on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string here, the B string, where my middle finger is going to go. So 7th fret, back to the 3rd fret, both of those ways there. But anyway, those are the open string positions. We have the first one and the second one. It's the second one. Third one. 4th one, 5th one, 6th one. So we have 6 total position shifts in that song. The most important ones probably being the last 2. That open E gives me time to come back here. And the picking on that is up, down, until you get to this slide. It's all alternate picking. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. And so that's the open string position shifts in Blue Railroad Train. Now I'm going to give you a couple different ways to do this, and the first one being the one I introduced at the beginning of this video, and that is just a simple G major scale. Typically we think of G major as but in order to get back and forth, I'm going to utilize the open G string, and that is very useful in a lot of bluegrass playing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you practice this scale shape. First, I'm going to start with the root note. Now you can go higher if you want to, which would start on the 10th fret with your pinky. 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 7. Okay, but I'm just to get you context, I'd like to start and end on a root note. So we're going to start on the 8th note of the B string, and pick up my remote here. 8th note of the B string. That's the root, that's the G. And the shape for that is going to be 8, 7, and then on the G string itself it's going to be the 9, 7. On the D string, 10, 9, 7, and then the open G. So just get that much first. And then once you get comfortable with that, practice it in the reverse, starting on the 7th fret of the D string. Actually, starting on the G note and then going back. Okay? So once we get there, let's go ahead and go to the next shape. So we're going to do the open G as the starting note. And then coming down on the D string, 4th fret to the 2nd, then open. Then the 2nd fret, or 3rd fret to the 2nd fret on the A string, then open. And then the 3rd fret of the E string. Now one thing I want you to notice is this G string is ringing out. It's sustaining. And the G string is still going. So I'm trying not to touch that string so it will add sustain. Naturally it's going to fade out when I get to it over here, because I'm having to fret it. Right now the muting is happening right here. I'm muting it with this finger unintentionally, but it's just happening the way I'm putting my fingers down. So what we do is we combine those. We start with this, and then but the goal is to do that without having to pluck the G string twice. We want to let it ring and continue on down here. And once again we go back up. Now this is the tough part. Going down, it's not too bad. You just remember when you hit the open G string, you're going to hit that note. And then descend. So you can practice that much to get used to the position shift. And then going back up. So that's on the 7th fret of the D string. And then continue up. Okay, so there's that one, and then the next one kind of incorporates that a little bit, but I'm going to also use some of these higher strings so you can kind of shift up here. So we got 3 positions we're going to shift to. It's going to be the open E string we're going to use, And I was originally looking for a lesson by Paul Gilbert. He uses, if you're familiar with Paul Gilbert, you can go to YouTube and look for Paul Gilbert Shred Alert, February 2009. And it's for Guitar World. And it's a lesson on the same thing, position shifting. And he goes over the A minor pentatonic. And he uses the open E string, and it kind of sounds like this. But I can't do that obviously on the acoustic guitar. I don't have enough room. But since that's the case, you know, I mean, that's a really good one to practice. So if you're playing electric guitar, start with the A minor, and as soon as you hit that little note there on the G string, the second note of the G string, the next one is an E. So instead of fretting it, hit the open E, come back down here and hit it on the D string, way down here on the 17th fret. Yeah, 17th. But since I can't do that, I've decided to modify that to our own needs right here, and we'll use it in the key of G and also the key of E minor. And so what it's going to be, let's see if I can get myself into it here. Okay, so this is the E note. So we're going to skip that and try to make it up to these two notes. So here's that's going to look like. We have this on the 12th fret, two notes, three notes, starting at the 13th fret on the B string, and then two notes start on the 12th fret again, back to back, and then open E. We can actually start here. It's right before the root. Technically, you know, typically I use this as the pentatonic. So I don't really go to those notes. It's just so back to this. I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. First of all, let's remember that here's the shape of the first pentatonic, or the first major scale. If we go back up, right there is where I want you to stop and think of eliminating the next note, because that's an E. So we want to hit the open E instead. And that's going to be an upstroke. Let's see, let's see. Yeah, G string's an downstroke, and then the rest of them is alternate. That way you can hit an upstroke on the E string, and then back here, the 11th and 12th fret of the G. But instead of doing all those notes, let's do just the pentatonic part of it. So that's two whole steps on the E and the B string, starting at the 12th fret, and then back to the G string on the 12th fret, and then we can use the open E to descend back down. And it's always going to be on this G string on the 7th fret, whether it's going down or going up. And that's a cool little pull off. The same thing I did on G over here. except we're doing it for the key of G here, my major contacts. Now once you get here, once you get to that little note, you can slide down and go back down one more, and then to the D string, the A string, 7th fret, open D, open G, or open D, then that. Fret, open, open. 7th fret A, open D, open G. And I'm so used to doing this that I forget to eliminate the E so I can hit the open string, but it just takes a little practice. Now, real quick before I leave, I'm going to tell you that this is also can be used for E minor stuff, since E minor is the relative minor to G, and it uses a lot of the same notes. In fact, it uses the exact same notes, but we're focusing on a different root. That's another good spot. 2nd fret, 4th fret, G string, B string, 3rd fret, and then open E. That's just me messing around with some of them open strings just for a cascading effect, not necessarily for any kind of transitioning on that time. But anyway, there you go. Try experimenting with some of those licks. There's the E, which is the root. So you can do the whole major scale for G. There for the E. And that is your lesson for today. Open string transitions. Practice those exercises, get used to those, and you will be well on your way to some blisteringly fast open string bluegrass licks. Thank you guys. Subscribe. Make sure to tell your friends. Check out my website, www.secretsoftexasbluesguitar.com. Thank you so much for watching, and like I said in the last video, thank you for participating in my bluegrass guitar course survey. I'm really going to take those things to heart, and I'm going to work on trying to develop my course based on those ideas, and it really is helpful. I thank you guys so much for participating. Don't know when that'll be released or anything, but I'll be working on it. I've already got it mind mapped out. I'm going to work on getting an outline and kind of incorporating some of your ideas into that as well. But I'm really anxious about it. I'm really looking forward to it. And so I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, keep picking and playing bluegrass and keep having fun most of all. God bless, and I'll see you next week.